All right, now it's in the 6 o'clock, September the 16th. I will begin the wage and personnel meeting. Just a couple of quick announcements. The meeting is being recorded by Zoom. Anyone intending to make an audio or video recording of this meeting should notify the chair at this time. Items may be taken out of order at the discretion of the chair. We do have a vacancy on the board. If there's anybody that's watching this Zoom meeting or will watch it later and you have interest, please notify Paul Gallagher at the townhouse and of your interest, and we'll carry forward forthcoming. First thing on the agenda is update from Tina, Betty, the Human Resources Manager.
Yeah, I don't have much. The building commissioner, zoning enforcement officer has been posted as of today. But really, I think that's it.
Because you're in that one, but the building commissioner slash
Zoning enforcement officer.
zoning enforcement officer, and it's been posted.
Yep, today.
How did we handle that with town meeting? It wasn't, we didn't need to because it was already in the bylaw. All we did was change the grade.
We changed the title and we added the grade.
So do we have some future housework to do for town meeting that we need to?
Yeah, you need to update the, what is it, A, right? Schedule A?
Schedule A.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So that'll be the project, but again, they'll be approving it post, but by the time you get a.
Hopefully.
Hopefully it happens.
Yeah.
Okay, yep, just wanted to remind everybody of that.
And the grade was
11.
11, correct? Yeah. Okay. Yep, everything makes sense.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, all right, Lorraine, do you have anything?
No,
Okay.
actually, everything is fine.
All right.
This is good.
That's because we met last week.
I know, I was like, I don't
You
have
can't
anything
do
there.
an awful lot in 3 days.
Okay, the next item is to discuss the reclassification of the office administrator water position. I think where we left it was that we had testimony from Stacy, as well as, I forget the other gentleman's name. Chris, and,
Baraka.
right, and, we reviewed the paperwork and so forth, and I think Lorraine, you had some questions
Yes.
that you were
I
gonna
did.
research.
I looked at a couple of things, sat down with my notes. What was very important for me to really flesh out the position or the requested position was the interview.
Yeah.
The interview said things that were beyond the JAQ and the job description. So using that interview with the two of them, again, with the JAQ and the job description, I did my scoring sheet without looking at the JAQ. So I had no perception or preconceived notions of what I'm going to expect. And surprisingly enough, based on the JAQ afterwards, the job description, current, my analysis, the interview, she's a 4.35. She is. So that puts her in grade 6. Grade what? Grade
435 is grade 5.
Grade 5, sorry,
No, that's
grade
okay.
5. I know I had the number was right.
Okay, so you don't see her as a grade 6?
That was the pending question, because we had her, what was it? What did we do that at? We ended up being 5 points.
You were 465, I
Yeah,
think I remembered right?
Yeah.
And, so,
Wait, what were the points you got again just for them?
The final point was 435, which puts her in the right category to be in
a grade 5.
a grade 5.
All right, so
So-
basically you do not see her as a grade 6.
No, there was no.
That position is a grade 6, not her, that position. is a grade
Wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah.
No, no,
the
no, no,
position-
no.
So the position is and has been in a grade 5. Last year, fiscal 25, we made it an exempt position. When we did the JAQ at that point, that position was 5 points short of going to grade 6.
That's fine.
And that's where the discussion and all that came about, to see if it makes more sense to put the position in 6, given a better understanding of what the job is as compared to the other positions in 6.
So unfortunately,
But
there were two there were two things that I differed
Okay.
from them.
But can I just interrupt you for a second?
Oh, go right ahead.
So even from when we looked at this last time for fiscal 25,
Hmm.
and the points were at 460,
Wasn't it didn't you have 465?
I had 465, right? You're saying you've redone it and it's gone back to
Well,
435?
that's what I'm trying to find out here. See, I
So-
did the,
So grade 6 is 470 to 500.
right,
Mhm.
Grade 5 is 435 to 465.
It was a 435 when at the time of the study. And then as part of doing, should this position be exempt, they redid the JAQ. I think we walked out of here at the end of 24, 425, saying it makes sense that it's at 465 for grade. I mean, I'm sorry, for points. It
yeah,
was, does it get the 5-point bump with a better understanding of what the job is?
Okay, so what I would suggest we do is you have the JAQ in front of you?
Yep.
Why don't we discuss what the points would be? Let's agree
Okay.
what it'll finally be.
yeah, because
And
there's a,
And that's fine,
big
but
difference,
I
yeah.
think that's why we gotta do them. So
Yeah.
I have the scoring tool up
all
and
right,
I have so I can tell you what the points are. So if you go by category 1, level 4, okay, that is 60 points,
correct,
okay?
Yep.
Level 2, years of experience, 4 to 6,
75 points.
75.
Excellent. Now, both mine and the JAQ reply, the same. So are you reading the number of the JAQ?
I'm reading the box that's checked off and I'm looking at
Okay.
the scoring
Okay.
sheet to get
Okay,
the
double check.
number,
All
okay?
right, excellent.
The next one, factor 3. The part 1 was high and part 2 was serious. And when you go to the graph and look at it, it's another 75 points.
So that's the distance, that's the difference.
Or what do you have?
I had a 55.
Okay, and so just to flush it out, why? You did not see it as high or serious? Based on the
I
job
I
description.
saw it
And
as,
the conversation.
as
and the
serious.
Okay.
And moderate. So there was a difference between the high.
Serious, and then it's based on 55, it would be often. So if you go to part 1 and read often.
Yeah.
You're saying job often requires making decisions in absence of specific policy and or guidance from supervisors, but some direct guidance is received from supervisors. High says high level of discretion with decisions restricted only by departmental policies and little direct guidance from supervisors.
Right.
So you think it's
this
more often
between
than
the two,
high?
I think if we lean toward going toward not having to rely on the supervisor all the time, then you could move it that way. But it was one of those things.
No,
One of those things.
But even after the discussion between the two of them, where Chris was talking about the amount of independence she had, the fact that you still think it's more.
I kind of got stuck between the two. That's what happened. I got, I 45 and 50 versus their 55 and 75. So that's where it is. So if we go in, if we, you know, if there's the ability to increase it by 20 by something I missed, I'm open to it. Absolutely open to it. But I do remember the conversations with her and Chris about her independence relative to if the supers aren't there. So yeah, there is some independence, a good amount of independence.
So I guess I'm a little stuck because I understood that you're gonna redo the thing.
Yep, that's what I did.
But I thought we were or you all, I guess, were in agreement at the end of last year to say the points are the 465.
Did we approve that? Did we vote on that?
No, what we did was we decided to forego the decision so that you could turn around and take another look.
That was at the
That was the last meeting.
yeah.
Right, the
Yeah.
465 came out after that it was regraded by you and the applicant.
Right.
We never turned around and
Right.
did this exercise. Lorraine did the first one. I did the exercise
Mhm,
myself and I did come up to 465.
mhm.
But, that's why we have to just have a quick discussion to understand what the differences are. You know, it's the net is that even if we come up to 65, we're still gonna be under
Yeah.
465 at the end.
Right,
Yeah.
So it's, so but to get there, I would say, okay, we have a problem with factor 3. All right, leave that aside for a second. Let's
Okay.
look at factor 4. Where, in other words, is that the only problem we have?
That's the only,
Oh, all right,
that's the only difference. The rest were.
we're right
factor
on the
four.
money.
We were both on,
Okay.
on 3.
Okay.
Factor 5 planning, we were both on 3.
Mhm.
Factor 6 contact with others, 4, same as JAQ.
Okay,
Work about this, I left and, okay, so factor 7, work of others. It specifically talks about one reporting person, 2. I accounted for multiple part times and how their conversation led to, or their meeting with us led to how sometimes she has to stand in and do the scheduling and keep the, irons and hot. So I went with the 2
okay,
because it's multiple part-time people
but agrees with the big.
and it agrees with the
Okay.
JAQ.
So,
Factor 8, same thing, 15, and factor 9 technology. So I don't know.
okay, well, so
It's a
going
20
back,
point difference.
right.
But why don't?
It's a 5-point difference. Yours is more because of the 55, it's the 20 points.
Right, but if you
So-
use it by the JAQ and they use 465, then I'm only talking about 20-point difference in factor 3. So why is 20-point difference comes up to so much of the difference in the total?
Well, it drops it down to 445 from 465, the 20-point difference.
Yeah, but the JAQ, that's what I'm trying to figure out. The JAQ that I used, that was supposed to have read 465.
Correct.
Doesn't. If you add up all the numbers that are the same, is a 20%, a
So,
20
but
point
you're-
difference.
So on factor 3, if
Yep.
we do high and serious, that goes to 75
Yep.
points, but you're saying you did 45 points.
No,
or-
55. That's,
where did you
that's
get
a
that?
check. Based on what I decided was
Okay.
55, because initially I looked at 45
so
and then I said, no, 55. And then I came back to the JAQ and then it came down to 75. So the difference is 20 points.
So the 55, was that a high moderate or was that
That's a
often
JAQ
serious?
number.
No, I know, but
Oh, sorry.
when you went through the JAQ, which in factor 3, which factors, which answers did you think so that you could come up with the
Okay, do I have,
dollars? That's not right.
yeah, I know, we're
It's
just talking. I know, I'm talking ragtime sometimes. Okay, so
So this is the JAQ, I'm sure you have yours.
Yep.
So this is the JAQ, right?
Yep.
So
High,
in order to figure out,
serious.
so, okay, go ahead. So high, serious,
serious,
and
yep.
that's theirs. Now you're saying you went through this and didn't agree with that. So where did you put it?
55, 75.
But 55
Oh,
is
I'm
what?
so sorry.
Right.
Moderate, high, and serious high.
You can only have
What the
one.
hell am I doing
You
here?
can only have
I
one,
just circled something as I'm talking. I had the 75.
and that's what they have.
Yeah, but the JAQ talks about 55, so that's where I
This is
think,
the JAQ.
yes, and that's where I'm going crazy. These two, you see?
Right, so
So don't
don't look at any of that.
don't look at other scribbling.
Sure. So this is the score sheet. This is the JAQ they completed, right?
Right.
So we do high first and then serious. And those land here. So that's how they got the 75.
All right, so that means I added the 45 and the 55 versus 55 and 75, so that makes 20-30. So that's a 30-point spread.
There's no adding. It's a graph.
So
So
I'm talking about versus the JAQ. So the difference between what I was buying, the JAQ says 55, 75.
no, the JAQ says 75 because they're saying high
High and come out
and
with
then
that.
serious, and those
Right.
land on this number.
And that's the Dutch, so you're still back down to 20. A difference All right, so if I have 55,
But how do you have 55 is my question.
because that was my decision.
So okay, so you're saying serious often, right? Okay, so
Serious.
often and serious. Okay, so you're saying
So often
55.
job requires, often
I'm sorry.
makes, yeah, no, that's okay. It says job often requires making decisions in absence of specific
Okay, but
policies and or guidelines. No, that's
That's
often,
often up here. Yep.
that's
okay,
often,
Okay, and
okay?
then you're in agreement with serious.
And I'm in agreement
Okay.
on serious.
So for factor 3, you're saying it's a 55, whereas they're saying it's 75.
Correct.
But nothing here. That doesn't.
That's the
make sense.
20.
No, that's just me.
And Lorraine, that is, I just re-added the J.
Oh, did you?
And it's 465.
So I made an error.
No, it's 465 is what the
Right,
number is.
right.
That is what they came back with,
Okay,
that we had to look at. You're saying that it is not 435, it is 445,
right, so I'm not sure I
20
made,
points less. If all your other numbers are the same, except factor 3,
yeah,
if all your other numbers are the same except factor 3, then the only difference is that 20 points in factor 3. Everything else
it's
is fine.
fine.
And we are starting with 465. I just added it up to make it.
All right, so the
Okay.
435 I have must have been, I'm just a mathematical
Just a
error.
mathematical, so it's 445.
Because it was like,
Okay, and that's fine, but the point is at 445, it's, it does put it right in the middle of grade 5. Now the question is, that, again, this is, the fact that, and I'm gonna plead where I came up with my thoughts.
sure,
The fact that she came up with the whole thing about the sewer collection and how they're responsible for it. I turned around and said, well, that was something that I didn't consider before. Okay, and that, so I put a little weight to that.
Yeah.
And where I put that weight in this list of factor 3 is, important goals would not be achieved in the
Hmm.
financial if she didn't collect the money.
okay,
That was my argument. So that's how I got to serious,
impacts on, yeah,
okay?
yeah,
So, because initially I agreed with what you were saying when I first looked at it,
mhm,
but then when I listened to them and how much he counts on that position,
that position,
I
yes,
said, and then I asked some questions about training that replacement, and then could she go elsewhere
Oh, right,
in
right,
the
right.
organization? Okay, with her skill set. So, I got a lot out of that interview, especially with her, and obviously the most telling point is in the minutes that Jennifer captured, which said that it wouldn't benefit her at all.
that's right, I remember, I saw
Okay,
you.
and Jennifer captured that in the minutes, so.
And I
so-
like that because it makes it very simple to everybody. This
So,
is not about money.
so at the end, I came to this discussion, and that was now to Tina. If it ain't broke, why are we fixing it? Especially with everything else we got coming up at special town meeting, and it's really not gonna be a big deal, we gotta do the building inspector anyways. So it's just another position, and all we're doing is housekeeping. The one thing I do like is all the exempt positions are grade 6 and higher.
Yes,
Now you have an exempt position that's in a grade 5. What I don't like is what I said at the last meeting, and I said this to Tina and to Keith. What stops the next person from coming in, okay, and telling us that their position is graded wrong? And all I'm saying is, rather than deal with that today, don't do anything. Leave it alone. And then deal with it when you have to. But then I also hear Tina's argument of, it would just make it a lot easier if I have to hire, otherwise I gotta wait for a town meeting.
Mhm.
So I think I summed up the arguments in my head that I heard from you, I heard from Keith, I heard from Stacy, and I really wanted to hear yours. And, and I see what you're saying.
yeah, their interview and their information was impeccable.
It's a big piece of compensation, trying to understand what these different jobs do, because we're not doing them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's
So-
why I was very happy to have them in here.
Yeah.
So the real question is, as it boils down, is are you solid on 445? is there any discussion that could change it to 465? Meaning, is there anything we missed? Or what did I miss that really should go the other way?
I don't think you missed anything. I don't think Tina missed anything. I would be happy to say that, with clarification and listening, yeah, I can understand how I did not grade them as important as they should have been. But I mean, I'm sitting here looking at you now, and the first thing that says she does sewer and water billing.
Mhm.
To me, that's revenue producing. So
Mhm.
that's very,
The two enterprise funds.
for one person doing all of that for the entire job.
And the collection.
And everything else
But the
that she's
collection.
doing, and the collection,
The
and the
late bills.
supervising the foremans, not the foremans, but the work crews, and. I mean, when the interview is where most of the meat was,
Mhm.
that's where you really got an idea of that. So no, I'm not cast in stone.
No,
Absolutely not.
and the point is that,
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to discuss it, because I thought, honestly, when you said at the last meeting, I said, well, maybe I'm missing something.
No,
If I'm missing
no.
something, I wanna hear about it, so I'd rather just take the time and listen to
I
it.
have no problem with that at all.
Yeah.
Not whatsoever. So I'm gonna be very comfortable at 465
Okay,
based on further communication.
okay, so then the next question is, it's not 470, which is grade 6. Okay, it's 5 points short. So
What can we do?
well, but again, I do believe the fact that she's an exempt employee means a lot, and that the fact that we don't have any exempt employees under a grade 6. Do we intend to at any point, Tina?
I'm just looking at them now, and,
Is there some possibility?
I don't think so. I don't think so, because none of these positions have anyone that reports to them, that's one. None of these, a couple of these positions are labor positions, which that has a whole hierarchy itself.
Mhm.
There might be some changes, but not to exempt with assistant tax collector, but that might be down the line. That currently is a KTU position. I mean.
So what's the difference essentially, Tina? I'm sorry.
No, please, go ahead.
Between the grade 6 people, public safety dispatcher, program
Right.
coordinator.
So the
What
way.
are the distinctions, or what is the distinction? that we
So
can
the way I
capture?
look at this is outreach coordinator is, in simple terms, meeting with whoever needs the needs. Knows what to do, knows where to get it, is the one that calls, is the one that maneuvers it, there's no going to the COA director to say, this is what I'm gonna do.
Mhm.
Public health nurse, that same thing, I mean, they may be working with the health agent to say, we're gonna do this, you know what I mean, but it's their expertise to educate the health agent on. Now, to be clear though, the public health nurse, because it's not full-time, is paid hourly, but it's an exempt position.
By virtue of her degree.
Yeah, well, by virtue, well, the degree doesn't do the exempt,
Yeah.
the nurture, no, it's because of the body of knowledge. I mean, even nurses in hospitals are hourly, right? But the profession itself is an hourly position, is an hourly profession, but once you get into the decision maker, there is a case to be made that it's exempt level work. I mean, and I've said this before, every position can be hourly. Mine can be hourly, even though I make decisions, you know what I mean? Or someone else's can be hourly if they have 10 people that report to them. When you're looking at Fair Labor Standards Act and the wage and hour laws, it's better for an employee to be hourly because they have the potential of overtime. And so what those laws put into place is, let's put parameters on employers to make them show us why this position shouldn't be overtime eligible, like it should be exempt from overtime. And so there's all these different tests that every job has to go through, and you have like 5 or 6 of them, and you kind of find the one that fits right. But if the job doesn't fit in it, then it's hourly, right? And so that's why I said any job could be hourly. So, and then, I think the program coordinator, which isn't there anymore anyway, and then the public safety dispatch, they're hourly. but the nature of their work is they're making the decisions, they're figuring out, this is the issue with the person, this is who I need to call, this is what needs to happen. And just the level of, the critical parts of it that could happen. I think that's also true for the public health nurse, because you jab a vein, you do whatever, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but if you think
So-
about it, if you look at it from that point of view that you just put out,
Mm,
this woman or this position,
mm,
based on the interviews, based on the JAQ, based on the job description, it could be very comparable to a dispatcher. Because she gets the calls, she has to triage the calls,
mhm.
so to speak.
I mean, I could see the nature of the outreach coordinator. Because the way and again, we only know the job as well as we know them, right? And so the way I kind of look at an outreach coordinator is something is presented, someone needs my help, or there's a lack of something in the town and I have to get the resources to do that. So there's a lot of knowledge that's needed for it, discipline-specific knowledge. There's a lot of being able to talk to people that aren't in the town, right? Because you're gonna call Old Colony, you're gonna call, you're gonna work with the fire department, you're gonna do whatever. I see that as more comparable to the water office administrator, because the water office administrator is talking to legal, they're talking to the zoning people, they're talking to residents, they have stuff at the state that they deal with, so I can kind of see those two types of jobs being put together. The outreach coordinator has like a volunteer staff, and so that's partly one of the reasons why it's exempt.
And then taking it a little bit further, is if you look at the assistant to the police chief and assistant to the fire chief.
Yep.
They have very important job.
Mm-hmm,
They deal with critical situations,
mm-hmm,
but they really have someone to lean on.
yeah,
In terms of all parts of the job. Whereas the water administrator, let's face it, Chris is not a collections expert.
Right.
But she has to be.
Right.
All aspects of the assistant to the police chief and assistant to the fire chief, theoretically, the fire chief and the police chief can do.
yeah,
And they're experts.
right,
So that's kind of a unique difference that I see between that grade 5 and grade 6.
mm-hmm,
And this is that, for lack of better words, that kind of gremlin that doesn't quite fit. Okay, but I can have some conversations to do. So I didn't look just at what was in grade 6. I looked at what was in grade 5
right,
and
right.
said, is this much further? And I went into the comp study and looked at the grade 5s. And, assistant tax collector, that's getting close.
So the
Yeah.
situation with the assistant tax collector is they don't have anyone reporting to them. But by nature of the fact that, as right now anyway, the treasurer position, the clerk and the tax collector are all exempt, are all elected. Conceivably, you could have someone that never shows up.
Correct.
And so that's why those positions are higher than other positions, because they could be, I'm not the clerk, but I'm gonna be the clerk because so-and-so never shows up or whatever.
But I'm looking at the assistant tax collector is also very public facing.
Absolutely.
Assistant
Yeah.
tax collector, the assistant to the police and the fire, they make, it brings me to think that these 3 positions are quite capable of stepping in to the collector, except for the chiefs and the fires, but they if the position, if the chiefs are not there, then somebody
So
steps up.
lieutenant,
And then
deputy
Right,
somebody
chief,
on that
goes,
side.
so
deputy chief, deputy.
they know go over
police.
here, they go over
Right.
there, so they have to understand how the structure is.
Mhm.
I mean,
So-
the way I kind of see, to use kind of how I'm hearing your example.
Yeah.
Is the assistants to the chiefs, that position can never be chief, right? It just can't be, right?
No,
And quite honestly, the office administrator in the water department probably can't ever be the superintendent of water either, unless they go and get all the, the licenses and things, right? I mean, this isn't tax collector. Yeah, they could be the tax collector.
But,
You know,
but the assistant, but the office administrator water.
Yeah.
With her abilities, based on all the things they could do,
yes,
could move up
Absolutely.
into some of these other positions. Okay, that are up in grade 7.
yeah, that's
That are
what
up
I,
in
that's
grade
where
8.
I see it as well, because I
So-
do think that skill set could be like, oh, she could probably be the assistant, that the
Ah.
person in that role could be, should have the qualification of the assistant treasurer.
It could be the assistant to the town administrator.
Yeah,
Without any
absolutely.
issue.
And I think that's one of the, well, that's actually, I think, one of the examples the incumbent gave in terms of if it would ever affect her rate wise, it would have to be at that level because of where she is just on her personal rate.
But my point being is the, and here's just my final thought on it. It's a unique position in the town. It's a position in the town that can train people for future positions. To get the right candidate in that job. So that they could possibly be trained and cross-trained into something else. Is a very unique position in the whole town. And I wouldn't wanna handcuff it by leaving it in grade 5. I would wanna, worst, if there was any position, and there's a couple in the town that I would quote overpay. Just to have the ability to move that person elsewhere as a chess piece, that could be one of the positions based on my. Discussion with her in the interview, and that's what I came away with, and, believe me, because I also said, and I'll repeat it again, why fix it if it ain't broken? I was in that position for a long time, and if we voted last week, I would have voted against this. Okay, but I wanted to hear what you had to say, so I waited, and I kept my mouth shut, my mother would have been very proud.
She would be very proud. My mother
So-
would have sat there and went, shut up.
My mother would have been very proud, so, you know, I totally understand the point, and honestly, I did have that discussion in it. In the end, I came to the agreement to go to a grade 6. So.
There's a lot of reasons why.
Mhm.
I can agree with that. I could agree with that.
Okay,
I mean, I truly can. If I keep looking at each one, I mean, if I look at this in 5, she's not doing what they're doing.
no,
That position is not doing what this position we're talking about does.
mhm.
So that means we need to just take a quick peek
Mhm.
to see if there's anything that we can honestly answer questions for 5 or 10 points. We have to be able to explain this to them.
And again, if you wanted to go to a JQ in my head, the, responsibility and development factor 4 is where I would have gone level 4 instead of level 3. And with the idea that, because of that interpretation, its execution or recommended changes in department policy.
Yeah.
That job is, and I think I made the joke, the pancreas of the water department.
Yeah.
Everything flows through it.
Yeah,
So I could see them criticizing policies, making recommendations, fixing it, building the bicycle as they ride
and
it.
we talked about that during the interview
We
as
did.
well. We touched base on that. Yeah.
So,
You're right.
if there was a way to say, okay, you know, I understand the point on factor 3 that you brought up, but I can give you a counter argument to factor 4, that I think this position should have been graded a little higher.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, I think we come to the same conclusion, which is it's just shy of 5, and the comp study so far has been pretty good, but we both knew that as we were gonna do this and work with it, we'd have to tweak it a little bit.
Yeah,
And I think this is a tweak position. I think honestly, we ought to make it a grade 6. And, you know, from the standpoint of cleaning up the titles, cleaning up the grades, number 1, and number 2, by making it a grade 6, and my reasons for making it a grade 6, I was also able to say, okay, if someone else comes in
Yeah.
to have their grade changed, here are all the tests I put this one through. Now I'm gonna do the same thing for, in other words, I'll be very consistent with my questioning of tests. In other words, do you meet this bar? Do you meet this bar? Do you meet, why is your job unique? What do you do that's outside the parameters?
Right, and how
Okay.
does how does a new person come in and fit without that background that this position requires?
And that's just this position, but I'm also talking about if someone else comes to challenge
Oh, yeah.
grades, I'm going to come at them
Same way.
same way. My methodology will be the same. Okay, so I think the interview was really good. I thought it was a good exercise to go through. I thought this was a good exercise to go through. Because, I'll go back to what we said initially when we got handed this last.
And that's,
time.
yeah, we're gonna do our best.
Yeah, and we both said, well, we're just gonna try and make it work.
We're gonna make it work.
So, that's where I'm at. I don't know if you're 100% there, if you wanna make a motion, if you don't, if you wanna have more discussion.
Now,
Up to you.
I'm looking back at the JAQ to planning, policy development rather, I apologize.
Mhm.
Based on what you're saying, based on something that I also remembered during the interview that I did not think about. There's a couple of places where we could look, but I think I'm very comfortable with doing this. Factor 4, level 4, I apologize.
So if you're saying change factor 4 to level 4, that increases the 465 to 485, which puts it in grade 6, but not above grade 6.
Well, it's,
But it's a little bit better than the public safety dispatcher and the coordinator, which is no longer here, but let's just particularly look at the public health nurse. This is a
no,
part-time.
it keeps it, it basically, it adds 20 points.
Right, so the JAQ without your change, the JAQ was 465, right?
Yes,
So you add the 20 points, so it's 485,
Right.
which is grade 6, but not above grade 6.
right. And it's got some wiggle room, for the future, but I think it fits.
Okay,
And I'm okay with that.
all right.
Thank you.
Do you want?
I'm
to-
gonna move
Go ahead.
to recommend that the water department office administrator be
Regraded.
regraded from a grade 5 to a grade 6 based on discussions, interviews, etc.
I'll second it. Any more discussion?
No, sir.
Okay, I'll call the roll. Lorraine,
Yes.
Jim, yes. Okay.
Yeah,
So now you all set? Thank you.
yeah.
Okay.
This I can't. I wrote down 435. It's like, great.
It's believe me, I've done the same thing multiple times. That's why
I'm
I
sitting
got
here-
my phone out and said, is this really 465? And I had to add it up.
And what was I doing? I was grabbing, I'm going, what did I?
So for procedure, you send the letter, right? That says the position's been regraded to the employee? No?
No.
Never done that?
No.
We wouldn't contact the employee.
Oh, I
That's
thought
not in our jurisdiction.
Okay, all right, no, that's fine.
It'd be a letter from you
Fine.
saying, as per the meeting and the vote by the Wage
Yeah.
Personnel Board.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You mean letting people know about the decision. You're
Yes,
saying like
that's what I'm
a
saying.
I would do it
Yeah.
in writing and I would do it by
Oh,
HR.
no, you'd have to wait until town meeting.
Yeah, we gotta do it
Yeah.
at town meeting.
Yeah, but that, I thought in the past, you would, and, as the board, would send it to the employee. I just remember stuff with Sue that makes me think that.
Sometimes.
I'm happy to do it, but I just,
We
yeah.
used to always do it, but then in the last few years. since
Because
the
I'm here?
request- Since the request
We
goes
like
through you
Yeah,
and you have.
that's a good
And
point.
you work on.
That's
the
a good point.
JAQ,
Yeah,
So now you're
That's a
kind
good
of the
point.
gatekeeper.
Nope, I'm happy to do that.
You're kind of the gatekeeper of bylaw amendment requests.
excellent.
And we would not be the primary
Okay.
custodian of that type of information.
Right.
Right,
That's,
But Tina's looking at it from a bylaw
Right.
amendment.
not
Oh,
the
yeah.
person necessarily, but more of
No.
the,
She's
you brought
looking
this
at-
how do
reclass
we
through,
yeah,
this
how
was
do
the
we
decision on
communicate
it.
people?
Yeah. Cause you
Okay.
can't, do you not do that anymore when Sue brings her, seasonal people?
No.
I guess not, yeah,
The only
Yeah.
thing she did last year, I
No,
believe,
because she
was to
always
adjust
just asked
the,
for the cost of
Yeah.
living
Yeah.
increase.
yeah,
okay,
But you're right, in the past, we always let everyone know.
that's what I thought,
But
yeah.
now since it's fuzzy because you send us the requests and.
Yeah. Darn HR wants to get in the middle of
a
everything.
little fuzzy person, you.
It's
All right,
funny,
well,
I-
thank you for your patience and.
And
Well-
actually, you were the requester, actually, with this.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Yeah, for this particular one, right, cause I was kinda like, I don't know if we got that right. I don't know if we got that
I could send you an email.
right.
I could reply to your, was it March 18th?
I know, right, of last year, no, I know.
Okay, all right, so let's move
So,
on to the next
all right, I
item.
will do that.
It's the email from Tina Betty, Human Resources Manager. Dave.
Oh, wait,
again.
you skipped discuss fall town meeting warrant article.
Where did that go?
Oh, yeah,
okay,
number
sorry, I
2
went
in
to mail.
discussion.
Sorry, I went to mail.
He's like, I'm
okay.
out of here.
All right, let's discuss the fall town meeting article. We have the building inspector / zoning enforcement officer. position.
Building commissioner,
Building
right,
commissioner, thank you.
yeah, and then we just have,
The reclass of the office administrator water.
right.
And anything else that we have that I don't remember?
For fall, I don't think so, no.
No, so I would just need to revise schedule A.
Correct.
Easy breezy.
Okay.
Simple, yeah. It's,
All right.
And I could do it in track changes because we know that's how Keith wants it done.
Right.
And it should be very clear.
Yes.
I'm liking the fact that it's simple.
Mhm.
Very simple.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more discussion about fall town meeting?
Well,
No.
do you want to do like a summary paragraph as a separate page, or do you want me to do the usual handout and just say replace Schedule A with the attached Schedule A? Then I'd have Schedule A track changes. Which way do you want to do it?
I think a simple paragraph, without the big additional handout. Because I think part of this whole, well, I should be careful about this. I
Well,
really-
it would only be 2 pages.
Yeah, let's do it the way we've done it with the handout.
The way I did it for the
Yeah,
last.
yeah,
But I can do Schedule A and track changes.
Yeah.
So that'll be very easy for everyone to see.
Mhm.
And we could work on the purposes of the next meeting.
that's fine. But at least you have a framework of what you want to do for, okay,
Yeah,
that's fine.
and Keith should be,
You should be fine with it.
yeah,
Mhm.
he'll be used to the
And plus,
format if we do
At
it
the
same
next
way.
meeting, we'll be ahead of the schedule. The Tina gave us,
Exactly. You're right. We can make changes.
right,
All right,
so we should be fine as far as that goes, okay?
Oh, right, because we're meeting early in October now.
Right,
yeah.
okay,
Oh,
so,
October 1st.
right, so we should be plenty of time.
yeah.
We'll have
because-
finalized fall town meeting, but as far as this board's concerned, on the October 1st meeting. Okay,
Yeah,
so
we-
unless there's something else that you have that
No,
we
no.
don't know about.
Don't give her that.
No, I'm just saying.
Well, let me see.
Don't well in us,
All right,
no welling.
all
All
right,
right.
anything else as far as fall town meeting goes?
No, so I'll do a draft for the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Just so I'm clear. So October 21st is a no.
Is
We're
a
gonna
no.
delete that,
Right.
Right,
the
that's,
occurrence,
that's
X
done.
that out, yes. And then, but we are meeting on the
First,
first. Do I
Yeah.
have that in here? I do.
Yeah, October
yeah,
1st.
because the
6
warrant
o'clock, so,
closes on the
right,
8th,
yeah.
which is
In,
right.
in this room.
Okay,
in this
perfect.
room.
All right,
Okay,
so that's our plan.
October 1,
Mhm.
6.
Okay,
And that gives us plenty of time if we need to make changes.
Right.
before Keith-
right, and you'll, the change that you'll draft, if you would copy Keith. In case so that, and tell him about our meeting, in case he has any changes, you can come and tell
All
him.
right, I
at
can
the
send,
meeting.
yeah,
That's all.
I'll include.
All right,
it.
and then that way we covered our bases and, you know, I want to walk out of October 1st.
Okay,
Okay,
I'd like that too.
all right. Now we'll move on to the emails.
Okay,
We've taken care of the water position. So, Tina, your email of August 21st regarding the bylaw acknowledgement form.
Now,
was-
can we just back up? I could just put these in here so I can get them into the minutes.
That's fine, that's fine. I just wanted, all I'm gonna do is
Okay.
ask a couple of questions,
Okay.
and that
No,
is,
no, that's fine.
yeah, is there anything we have to change in regarding your email on October the 21st?
For fiscal 26. What my recommendation is with the,
So nothing as far as what we got upcoming?
No.
Okay, so we can
we can table that.
table it?
Yeah.
Same with the CL,
Yeah.
okay, we'll table the cost of living, so
I'll just get them into the minutes.
that's fine. Number 2 and number 3 were mentioned and that they would be tabled for further discussion later. Okay? The next thing is to review and approve the minutes of August the 19th and September the 10th. I read the minutes. I thought you did a really good job on them because there was a lot of moving parts. So, I would take a motion to approve the minutes of August the 19th as written.
Come on.
Yeah.
Always, dear God almighty.
That's okay.
While I was hanging around. I was bleeding to death. I went on to the general bylaws. And started poking around. And I found in the bylaws, in the general bylaws,
For the town.
yes,
Mhm.
2 references only. To specific requirements to be a resident of the town. The first one you'll find in, on page 18. Section 4-21-3. And it's the Affordable Housing Trust, and they specify only,
I think
Oh.
I think I checked the general bylaws, right? Not
yeah,
every-
only persons who are residents, okay? And then the second one, same on the Affordable Housing Trust, 4-21-3, ceases to be a resident is a reason to go
On the
Okay.
affordable housing.
on the affordable housing. Now, page 16, I believe it's 16, FinCom.
Yep.
3-1-2, removal from town, you're up. If you remove from the town, you're up.
Okay, so those are the only
Those
two
are the only
boards.
2, yeah.
Okay, how about Mass General Law?
Mass General Law, they talked a lot about elections, and I couldn't drill down into where I was comfortable. I just found those 3 and thought, okay, so if there's only 3 and there's nothing on anything else, you could either, take a guess, but I wouldn't want to guess on either one. I want council. I want town
So-
council.
What I would do is if maybe you could draft a note to Paul Gallagher. Formal note,
All right, but Darlene has already resigned.
okay, but what if we just changed grade 6 for the next problem, the next,
Right,
why can't I have the same?
Oh,
Right.
are you trying to get Darlene back?
Whether I do or don't, why can't I have the same option?
right. I mean,
Why can't I just prevent an issue?
Okay,
In other words,
Yeah,
nothing would make me happier than to have another human resources expert sitting in this chair. Quite frankly,
oh, yeah.
okay, because as we go down this road, this,
rabbit hole.
well, no, as we go down this journey, more problems are gonna come up.
Yeah.
But that's just my, so,
It's
So-
a question that maybe, I don't know if anyone's answered.
no, Paul never got back.
Clearly, it's no.
So when I win the lottery and don't work here anymore, I will come be the 3rd member.
I was,
Well, if we
um,
I live in Plymouth, well, that's okay.
but,
get your
As
mailboxes.
a taxpayer, could you? Do you think being a taxpayer is important to be
Yeah,
on,
that's a good point.
to be on the board?
not
Because the
necessarily,
things you do,
ours has no financial impact because we don't approve budgets.
But we are impacting the employees.
And the COLA though, we make recommendations.
We make recommendations, we don't make the
That's the
decision.
recommendation.
well, that's
Right,
true. It's
Yeah.
under
we,
that
right,
town
that's
meeting.
part of, it
that's
goes to budget,
Okay, that's fine, never mind.
okay? I can see why FinCom would be, that your argument there makes
Mm-hmm.
perfect sense,
Oh, yeah.
okay? You're paying taxes in the town, you got a vested interest, you should turn,
Okay.
but I don't necessarily agree with some of the other boards.
And the
So,
Affordable Housing Trust is
All right,
that, that's relative to housing for residents in the town, and I can make that connection like,
Mhm.
same. But
That's
I
a
was surprised.
great pickup, okay,
Yeah.
Debbie got an answer from him, and I think honestly, and I think if we just put it in writing to
We
him.
need it in writing.
Yeah, then
Okay.
he'll have.
Not a text or not an email, I mean, like a,
Oh,
Well, no, I think an email.
I think if
would
we
be-
draft an email, copy you, copy me, and copy you, and send it to Paul,
Full
and say.
request.
CC Tina
CC Tina and Keith,
and
Wait,
CC,
does Tina, what?
Tina and Keith, CC Tina and Keith,
Tina.
and say, you know, I know we've requested to get clarification on the resident status to be part of our committee.
Mhm.
We can't find any mention in the bylaw, the town bylaw, that says you have to be a resident
For wage and personnel.
for wage and personnel. Could you please clarify?
Okay, I'll get it off the recording. This is,
Okay, that's how I would
And if
recommend.
you look at the general laws, you're looking at pages 17 and 18, the references were 3-1-2 for FinCom and 4-21-3 for affordable housing.
I think I searched for resident and I found this too, because
I started playing with residential, I mean, I went through all these lists, appointments, and it always came up.
And to Paul's defense, when I questioned him about this, he said to me, I don't know, it could have been a law in 1789.
Could
He
be,
goes,
They
or
would
it could
have
be
to
just
do-
something we've always done. And he said, but I'll check. So, you know.
he's got
and-
elections up the
You're right,
right
he's
now,
busy,
so.
so, you know, the. you
I'll
know,
send him an email,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
stating what you just said,
Right.
and I'll copy everyone.
And just, this way we've got it on the record and we can ask, and I think it's important, you know, regardless of Darlene or not, if she wanted to come back and so forth. You know, I'd rather ask her knowing that it's possible,
All right,
Yeah.
okay, rather than yes.
I can understand a resident's frame of mind in terms of, do I want people that don't live here making decisions about our town? I can understand why people would want that ownership. But there's no, other than those two boards, not even us.
I would suggest, I would suggest,
Yes,
I would
Doc.
suggest, and it's not because it's Paul, but I would just say something like, you know, we plan on meeting XYZ date and we'd like to discuss it
Ah.
at that meeting. So
Yeah,
maybe
because
it's
then we can
maybe not
take care
October,
of
because
it.
that's only a couple of weeks away, or maybe
Yeah.
November, I don't know, I just, you know, again, it has nothing to do
I
with the
think
clerk's
it's better
office.
for the November meeting, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
we'd
we'll
like
be
just,
getting ready for-
and say, you know, be greatly appreciated if we could get some clarification in time to discuss, to be able to put it on our November meeting agenda.
Okay.
I know for me, when people give me a deadline, it helps me,
Yeah,
you know.
that's fine, and I
Yeah.
appreciate
Because
that.
everyone is really busy and it just
Right,
goes.
and I realize he has, so that
Yeah.
gives him plenty of time.
Right. You
Hopefully-
delegated, and you do
Right,
whatever.
and
you know.
again, it could be a situation where it's just the way we've always done it.
Right, I have nothing in documentation, but that's how we've done it, right?
Right.
Okay, at least
And
you know.
that's fine.
Yeah,
You
Yep.
think town council will know?
yes,
Town council know mass general law, but
Right.
quite frankly, that should be the town clerk's job to go,
Okay.
okay? Because then we'll get an answer from town council and then we have to go, no, let them.
Yeah.
let it
And
go
I,
through.
and, you know, in my learning of municipalities these last 8 years, like I find a lot of things are, the mass law is this, but your town could have changed it, you know what I mean? And so it's like,
with the
oh,
licenses,
you know,
with the
all of
licenses
it,
are
all of it.
big.
There's so many things that I'm
Very-
like, you have
very
to,
big.
you have to vote, or you have to put a charter in, you have to do something to go against what the law is. And if we don't have that, it's like, okay, we might have been following that, but it was never voted on, then that's what we should have been doing, you know, so.
All right.
And I don't know if that's this case, but
No, I don't know either,
Yeah.
but he did, to his defense, say
yeah,
to me, Jim, I don't know.
Yeah.
He says.
We have
he should have, no one, he
But
should, no one in
he's-
that role should be like,
he's
I know it all,
busy.
right here.
He's been busy rather than.
I had coffee with Ben Franklin today and we wrote a new paragraph on board resident.
All right, so I'm going to put that under other business.
Please.
Not the minutes.
Right, and
Yeah,
then
no.
now, as far as the minutes go of August the 19th, there is a motion on the floor, not seconded, to approve the minutes of August the 19th as written.
Are you making the motion?
I just said, I'm suggesting a motion,
Oh, but it hasn't gone.
it hasn't gone anywhere,
No,
so I'm waiting to
because I
hear,
wanted that
so
question
moved.
first. So moved.
I'll second,
Okay.
I'll call the roll, Lorraine,
Yes,
Jim, yes. The minutes for August the 19th have been approved. Okay, I will now say the minutes on September the 10th. I'm looking for a motion of approval as written.
Second,
So moved.
so I apologize, so moved,
Okay, I'll second it. I'll call the roll. Lorraine,
yes.
Jim, yes. Okay,
Yeah, I didn't move the motion, I didn't move the
That's
question.
all right,
to,
I took track, so I knew it hadn't gone anywhere.
okay. So, the last item, next regular meeting says October the 21st. It is October 1st.
Yes,
Yes, because I didn't know when I did.
Yep, that's fine.
Hold on, let me
Any,
get back to my agenda.
yeah, anything else for the good of the group?
No, hold on. Hold on, okay.
I'm pretty efficient.
I know.
he's a very good chair, he's a very good chair,
I like to keep this puppy moving.
and you're doing a
Okay,
great
so,
job.
So I was thinking about the agenda for October 1st.
Mhm.
So we're gonna have, getting ready, our handout for fall town meeting, but then I was also thinking, really, we should do the memo for
Yeah.
the bylaw amendment request since the deadline. I was surprised that the deadline was in December, not January.
Mhm.
I was
I
shocked when
remember last
figured it
year.
out.
Last year it was
People
right
were
around
fussing
Christmas
around
time.
Christmas,
Yeah, so
yeah,
why was I thinking January? I don't know.
there was a lot of flexibility last year as
Was
to
the
the
town
town
meeting
meeting.
later?
Yeah.
So the
times.
memo went out with, let's say it was December 10th or something like that, and then they changed town meeting.
Right.
And so because we knew or you all knew there were people trying to get in, you extended it 2 weeks or whatever it was.
Yeah, because the first town meeting is supposed to meet.
So
on the
you're,
first-
you're
so
talking
I'll-
about the notification
Yeah,
to the
I'll-
department heads for any changes to the.
Yeah,
bylaw.
so I'll pull out what we did last year and then I'll make the changes I can make and then you guys can look at it on October 1st.
Okay, so the,
So that we can get that
right.
out with the.
Memo to department heads will be on the October 5th agenda.
Yep, I have it right here.
Okay.
And
anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay,
That
and,
was it, one?
and then also,
Well, yeah, because I did a draft of the agenda.
she did a draft.
For
Yeah.
October 1st, so I wouldn't forget.
So you're ahead of time, yeah, and then,
Well, I have to with civic clerk, it gets hung up and sometimes, yeah, I can't move it for 5 minutes, so.
all right, so we're gonna do the memo to department head, and are you gonna have the handout? Yeah.
I'll send you both.
Draft
in
handout.
advance.
Yep.
I'll
So
send
that'll
you
be for
both in
approval.
advance.
So it should be, unless something else comes up in Tina's world, it should be a relatively quick meeting.
Okay.
I'll
Okay.
find something.
So don't give her any
So I will ask,
Halloween.
I'll ask one more time. Anything else for the good of the group?
Not on my side,
Okay, then I would make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 6:57
so moved.
PM.
I
6:57.
apologize, 6:57, so moved,
So moved. I will second that. Call the roll. Lorraine,
yes.
Jim, yes. Thank you, everybody.